Hello everyone, Josh from C2000 here. Today I'm going to be bringing you the first part of a new series called Batman Arkham Rethink, where I'm going to be rethinking and doing over Arkham Knight. This is kind of like a pitch for what I would do if I was in charge of creating Batman Arkham Knight. So this is more a retrospective kind of piece, more like Wasted Potential. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split this first episode into segments, but it's going to be more the core concepts of the game and identifying some core issues with Arkham Knight as a whole that I aim to fix with this series. So now we're going to go into it, and I don't really have any clever segues written, so we're just going to go in and have it by segments. I'll probably put a graphic up, maybe get some music, you know, that kind of thing. First things first, I'm going to be talking over the introduction of the game, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that god-awful, melodramatic introduction from Jim Gordon. I do not think it's appropriate, and I think the game blows its load way too early on the whole Batman dying thing. And what I'm going to do, I know I said I wasn't going to talk story details too much, but given the fact we're establishing core concepts in this episode, I think it would be a good place to cover the opening of the game instead of tucking it away in one of the little side episodes. So, first up, what I want to do is I want it to open with a more positive feel. I want it to feel like, you know, the Joker's dead, Gotham's starting to show some sign of improvement. And I want it to be Jim Gordon kind of in a squad car, and he's kind of monologuing about Batman. He's monologuing about what Batman means to the people of Gotham and what Batman means to Gotham. Kind of like in Scott Snyder's opening to his run on Batman for New 52, where he's talking about the What is Gotham column, and it slowly changes into going from random stuff to going into, like, it goes from this very negative sense of hopelessness to talking about Batman and how Batman is a inspiration to people and pulls people up and gives people some sense of hope. So the game opens on a much more positive note instead of what it was, and this is going to be, I definitely think this is going to leave a much better taste in people's mouth, because the big problem is with the story of Arkham Knight, Rocksteady let their feelings about the character and working on the series bleed into the game. They wanted Batman to die because they wanted to be done, they wanted to wash the hands of the Arkham games, which, considering how long they've been working on it, is understandable, but at the same time it detrimented the quality of the story massively, because Batman made a lot of stupid mistakes during Arkham Knight, which were borderline suicidal, and it's out of character, and it's something we hope to fix here. So, on to the next section. Okay, so second of all, now I need to talk about the way the game's going to be structured overall, which is something I have in mind, which is very different from most Arkham games. So I'm not sure how you guys are going to feel about this, but I want to put it to you guys because I think it's a very neat idea, and it fixes a problem that people have been trying to mod into the game for ages. So, first of all, when you boot into the game, you don't, you go to start, you know, new game, whatever it is, and then you go to story. And then you get brought into the Batcave, and then you get a option which is play as Batman. And if you try and cycle through the other options in this screen, you'll notice it's like character locked, character locked, character locked, character locked, character locked, character locked. And it gives you kind of a it gives you kind of like a silhouette, like for the other characters. You can't quite tell who they are, but it gives you a silhouette. So it basically implies that straight up, yeah, you are going to be able to play as other people other than Batman in the story now. That is because I've decided the best way to go about doing the story would be all of his villains for one last hurrah, minus Joker, who's dead, and then basically have them split between each of the heroes. The heroes being Nightwing, Dick Grayson, Tim Drake Robin, Red Hood, Jason Todd, and Stephanie Brown, Batgirl, and Batman himself, obviously. So that's 5 heroes that are playable. Maybe add some more via DLC or whatnot for free roam and their own side missions, but every single one of them has their own little side missions, has their own little bits and pieces, which contribute to the overall complete percentage of the game. So in order to get the whole story, you complete all the characters' playthroughs. Now, here's the way you can go about that. You can have a couple of different options. You can do them in order, and there is a chronological order to all the missions that takes place during the story. That would take a fair bit of working out though. Or you can do them all one by one, but if you do one by one, it will have... If you try and do them all one by one, there will be certain points that say, hey, there's spoilers for this person's campaign here, there's persons for this spoilers campaign here, you might want to go and do that first. Like, you know, so for example, if I go to a mission where a Batman catches up with Red Hood, there's gonna be a message there saying, oh, there's spoilers for the mission, I don't know, whatever the mission's called, maybe like Deadeye or something, I don't know, whatever it's called. You know, there's gonna be spoilers for Deadeye. You might want to go and play Red Hood's campaign, get up to Deadeye, then come back. So it gives you the option. You can play them all equally and, you know, do whatever you want with it. You know, you can play as most of the Robins and most the, like, you know, one of the Batgirls. And, yeah, this is kind of how the story's structured. You can play through all as Batman, but you haven't completed the game, because you've got the other stories and you've got the other characters. But no, if you do Batman to a certain point, there's a point of no return, because of, yeah, I do think instead of having this mythical, metaphorical thing, it is actually a straight up character death. So, if you're 100% Batman, you can no longer play as Bruce as Batman. It's something that I'll talk about in the other videos later on, but I just thought this was a neat little concept, because everyone has been asking to be able to free roam as the other characters that come in challenge maps and whatnot, and it's something that never really got implemented minus mods. So I think it would be a way to fix that, and also just give people some more playability and just some different playstyles, which is something I will talk about in each of the characters in individual episodes. Okay, section 3. Now we're going to be talking about the main villains of the base Arkham game, which are Arkham Knight and Scarecrow. First of all, I want to say this. The game will no longer be called Arkham Knight with a K, the game will be called Arkham Knight with an N, which is basically implying Arkham Knight, like the final night of Batman. And, you know, you can advertise that on the box if you want. You can, like, flip it over and it says the final night of Batman on the top. Just something like that, you know, something to give people this sense of, ooh, this is the end of the trilogy, this is going to be big. Kind of like what they tried to do with Arkham Knight. And also, just have it where they're not going to lie to everyone's faces. Arkham Knight's gone. Arkham Knight's flipped out. We're going to talk about that. And instead of doing Arkham Knight and Scarecrow, because I think those two really, for the story, were the worst choice of villains. That it really did hurt the story. And you just ended up getting a really weird, loose adaptation of a really good comic book story, and like something with Scarecrow tacked on as well, and it just didn't really feel very good. So, what I'm proposing instead is that the story mostly focuses on a Batman Hush type thing, where all the bad guys decide to band together. I mean, you could even have the Joker's death be a catalyst for this. All the bad guys are like, okay, we're gonna band together and kill Batman before he kills us. Like, you know, that's the because maybe, like, you know, have rumors going around like Batman killed the Joker, like, you know, like having these rumors going around. And it could be, like, you know, that could be, I think that would be a much better, more interesting way to go about it than doing a loose adaptation of Under the Red Hood and then whatever the hell they did with Scarecrow. And also the whole Joker being a, like, a fear toxin hallucination, a drugged up fever dream from bad Joker blood. Whatever that was, that needs to go. Just the whole Joker subplot needs to go. That needs to get in the bin. I know, look, Mark Hamill's Joker was amazing. I love Mark Hamill's Joker, but come on, man. Joker's dead. Give Mark a break. You know, you can have Mark do other voice work, and you can still have Mark come back in flashbacks. I'll talk about that in another video I have planned, because I'm going to be doing a video on each of the characters and talking more about their story. So we're probably going to have 5. We're probably going to have 1 for Batman, 1 for Nightwing, 1 for Red Hood, 1 for Tim Drake, and 1 for Stephanie Brown. So we're probably going to have 5 other videos other than this, in a similar kind of format. So, now, what's the biggest villain to this game, gameplay-wise? That's going to be the next section, people. Okay, so now the final section before we bring this video to a close is the goddamn Batmobile. The Batmobile just absolutely killed all sense of pacing and all sense of fun in this game for me. It's just characters that would have been really awesome boss fights and have proven to be really awesome boss fights. Deathstroke in Arkham Origins, for instance, are instead switched out for tank battles that we've seen multiple times. The biggest problem is they don't just use the tank once. They make you do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Now, my proposal of how to fix the Batmobile problem is, first of all, you limit the Batmobile to Batman, because we're going to have multiple campaigns, as previously discussed in another section. So it's only in Batman's. So all the other 4 characters don't have a Batmobile, or have an alternative to a Batmobile. Not too sure about that. If I come up with something for that, I will bring it up in another video. So you have only one campaign that uses the Batmobile, which is probably like a percentage of the runtime. So that means that it's gonna feel less fatiguing. You're not gonna have hours and hours of playing with the Batmobile. So that instantly right there is gonna freshen some of it up and fix some of it. Second of all, don't cram it into everything. Don't try and force you to use the Batmobile for stuff you could previously do in Arkham City and Arkham Asylum and Arkham Origins without it. You know, so don't have it where, like, oh, I need to get across this gap, I need to use the car. It's like, oh no, I have this gadget that I've had for 4 games now, and I know how to use it. Ding, across the gap. Nice. Because then, those that are veterans of the series are like, oh, I know what I need to do here, just pull this out. Bang, done. And also, it just makes you think like, ha, I figured that out with my noodle, instead of being told by the character to use the Batmobile. Like, you know, it just feels so much more satisfying, and it allows for so much better gameplay and so much better player agency. I mean, there's an example of this in the base game. Stag's airship, the mission on Stag's airship. They can't get the car up there, unless of course they use some next MacGuffin. So they're forced to come up with a new gimmick. And what happens is you use the cryptographic sequencer to hack into the airship, and you use it to move it and rotate it, and it's used for puzzling. And it's not very hard puzzling, but it's simpler. It's challenging enough to be like, I can't get into that room. Hang on, there's a box there, that's made of glass. If I move and I rotate it, yeah, it breaks the glass and goes flying out the airship, so I can now access this new area. And it's instantly more satisfying working that out and making that leap than it is to just be told, oh, I need to use the car to power the winch, you know, and it's like, I mean, how many times did they use the winch? I'm pretty sure they use the winch multiple times in the campaign, and they use it in the bomb clearing side mission, and they use it in the fire station, the Firefly side mission. Basically, the big problem with the Batmobile is it's just used too goddamn much, which is something we can easily clear up with how we've decided to format this rethought or reimagined version of Arkham. So, next video, I'm probably going to be talking about probably either Red Hood or Batman, and I'm going to be talking what I've changed with... The Red Hood video is going to be talking about how much I've changed him. I've changed him massively. If any of you have watched the channel previously, you know I love that character, and you know it stung playing Arkham Knight. So, we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be doing that. Batman, I'm probably going to be talking more about this grandiose ending I have in mind, you know, this thing that sparks this legacy. Like, you know, and then we're going to go into a Nightwing episode, and a Tim Drake episode, and a Stephanie Brown episode. I don't know, I might do the Tim Drake and Stephanie Brown one in the same episode. It depends how much I can think of for that. But I need to sit down and have a genuine think. I need to look at how I'm going to partition the heroes and villains. I have a few ideas, but it's basically looking at it in more detail. So it might be a while before I get some of those videos up. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video all, and I'll see you all in the next one when we continue to reimagine Arkham Knight.